but welcome back to Cups and Candles. And I'm going to just quickly go over my thoughts on the market and the coins that I'm currently bullish on and the stocks that I'm currently bullish on. Obviously, majority of it's crypto AI related. And that's it. We'll keep it short and sweet. I'll quickly go over some of my reallocations and things that I kind of sold off and reasons why I did that, and then also allocating elsewhere. We'll get into that now. Okay, I can't exactly recall where we were last time I recorded, but it was, I guess, what, 3 weeks ago. So we were in this consolidation, I believe. We broke out, obviously. We've now come out. There's two Fibonacci extension levels here that have been kind of resistance. First one is this: if you take this local pull, you see the 1.786 was rejected. I'm gonna get rid of this. Trading view has been buggy lately, losing some of my settings. With the anchored VWAP, it keeps. Look, if I click this, it always has these additional lines that I don't want, and it doesn't. No matter how many times I reset it, it constantly puts them back. It's very frustrating. But anyway, I digress. We were breaking out of this. We broke out of this, sorry, after I posted last, I believe. We've now come up, tapped the 1.786, and now we're consolidating. We've come and found support on the 1.272, which I've seen many times before, that the 1.272 can act as support. Now, there is a CME gap here in this breakout. Doesn't have to. It doesn't have to come down and backfill, but given the amount of wicks I'm seeing, there is a chance that it does happen, which would be possibly like a 382. Yeah, so it could come down and fill this 382. You know, likely go sideways a bit longer and then quick wick down, kind of like what happened here, which would be a flush of a lot of leverage flush, probably. You know, this and then bam, and then go. That's possible. So just be prepared for that scenario. That is possible. But for now, it's holding, you know, this sideways ridge. It is creating lower highs, which is not great, but you know, at least locally. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. This could be some form of a triangle pattern, which is continuation, which is kind of what my base case was going into this breakout. I don't. There, you know, obviously break and retest is a common thing that plays out in the market. So you know, this could fake out to the upside and then do the dump. You know, trap a lot of eager longs and then down and then up. So just be prepared for that kind of fuckery in the market. That's Bitcoin. Okay. It's kind of just consolidating here. And it's come and tapped this 1.786. But also if you take this, yeah, and we do a external pull. Is it that one, I think? Was it external log style? Let me just get, there's too many bloody things on here. I can't remember what I had pulled up. Yeah, I think, well, don't know if this pull was valid. Yeah. So originally, what I noticed was it was rejecting off this, but then it went higher and tapped the 1.786 from this fib pull, and that's using linear scale, I believe. Yeah, it's linear scale. So this is the linear scale, okay? And what's going on with this now? And then I think turn this off for now. think this is this log or linear? Okay, so that's linear. Yeah, okay, there we go. That's what I was thinking about. All right, so the log scale 1.272 is also here, right? So there was a bit of confluence in terms of that. However, I do think that this linear pull is probably more in play here just because of where it found support. How, you know, I mean, you can see here it even the 1.272 on the log scale is acted as support, pretty much. So not as accurate, but yeah, very close. Anyway, and so I guess on the log scale, the areas of interest are up here in terms of potential points of rejection. But my interest is still this. It's $164,000 range level. Might wick through that, and that's kind of where I'm expecting the market to top. And I expect the market to top on October 17th. I know that's strange to hear a very specific date, but I have my reasons. I'm probably not going to go over those reasons. I don't want to give away that edge as to how I came to that conclusion. That's something that I want to kind of keep to myself. It was something that I discovered and was quite shocked at how accurate it was. But one thing I will say is a month prior to this, there is going to be I think an FOMC meeting where, and there's going to be potential rate cuts on the table. Now, if that does happen, and that's going to be around this date, I believe the 16th to 17th of September, somewhere here. Initially, if there's rate cuts, the market will rally, most likely. And then about a month later is when the market will start to digest, okay, this is all priced in and actually rate cuts are bearish, and then market should drop. That's kind of my base case. You know, this will be like the almighty bubble. Alt season will occur in this consolidation where it's already occurring, but like the real blow off top, everything goes crazy. The worst of the worst starts going crazy in terms of like you start seeing 100x's and complete nonsense stuff. That's usually the sign of the end times, and then we're going to get a 12-month bear where I believe we see this. And this has been my base case for a while. That's probably a little too low. I do think we see like 55-ish potentially once again. So that's kind of what I expect. Could be wrong, but for now, this is my plan. We've gone on this epic run. Let me just turn all this stuff off. We've gone on this epic run, you know, from the lows. Nobody should be surprised if we see this. I mean, come on now. Look at this. Right? And it's done this over and over before, so. Okay, I digress. That's kind of my current plan. In terms of the altcoins, I'm bullish on, well, I'll start with Ethereum. I was buying Ethereum, quite a lot of it, in this consolidation because it looked really good, and I'm pretty sure I posted about how I thought Ethereum was extremely bullish. I had my reasonings. There's a lot of fundamental reasonings. I was buying in this block thinking, okay, this looks good. And then we got this fake out dump, which probably scared a lot of people. I didn't budge. I was like, yeah, this is fine. Pretty normal. Come fill this inefficiency test support, which I believe was also some form of a fib support somewhere in here. Either 382 log or something like that. Yeah, so you got like a 382 on the log scale. Filled that and then went on this rally, right? And we're now, since my averages are just 2500-ish around here, so I'm up about 50%. And I believe, and I think not many people have this target. I only seen Tom Lee post. He said he wouldn't be surprised to see between $10,000 and $15,000 Ethereum, which is actually what I'm expecting. Right in the middle of that, I'm expecting 12.6. Not on this chart, but the most accurate chart. I like the index, I believe, and that's it. Like 12,636 is my target. It could wick through like here where it went just above, so it could probably 12.7, 12.8. But ultimately, that's what I think is going to happen with Ethereum. We're back at resistance. I'm pretty sure this is not going to hold for too long. Like, it's not going to put up much of a fight because it's been tested 1, 2, 3 times, this level. And then these levels are not very big of a deal. Like, these probably won't hold too long either. So once we blast through that, first point of interest is the 6500 1.414 extension. So we could see this, and then this, and then dump back to maybe not that far. You know, we could see something like that, and then to come back down in the bear market. Base case for Ethereum. All right, so that's my thoughts. Look, there's a bunch of fundamental reasoning. You can do your own research, but if you've been sleeping under a rock and you haven't noticed, there's a bunch of treasury companies now out there buying hundreds of millions of dollars of Ethereum and putting it on their balance sheet. So that's like a huge catalyst, and that's also helping shift the narrative for Ethereum. And the Genius Act with stable coins, etc. Because of basically the fact that a lot of stable coins settle on Ethereum. And so that's bullish in regards to that. So there's that. Following on the coattails of Ethereum's breakout and nice run here, I believe Dogecoin is looking really good. And so I've got a position on this. I'm currently long, and it looks very similar to Ethereum in terms of it's forming a bit of a cup and hand. Hold on, let me just do this. I don't like this chart too much. I prefer this chart. The only problem with these index charts, these proxy charts, is there's no volume data, but you get a more historical view. Now, if we look at this, we've got the curved, the rounded bottom, and then we come, as soon as we break resistance, you go on this like huge run. Now, the first time it ran, huge pullback, another run, and then formed another round of bottom, which was like obviously a huge consolidation that took a long time. And then did another massive run. This is when Elon was shilling it. And we actually did more than a 50x on this occasion. Did nearly a 92x, 97x from this breakout point, give or take, right? Which is crazy. To go from a 50x to a 97x is nuts. Do I think this is going to happen again? Absolutely not. There's just no way that the market cap could even go that high. The other thing I noticed is it was golden pockets the entire way. First rejection was off the 1618, 165. That was your top for that cycle. The second top occurred just above, which is probably the 786. I'm gonna guess. Is it 2.786? Yeah, so the 2.786 here was exact top, 70 cents. We've now done this again, formed a rounded bottom, looking like a cup and handle in this instance. Now, you could say, oh, well, shouldn't it go to the 3.65, you know, as a minimum? The problem with this is the market cap would have to get absolutely insane. And I just can't see that happening when, you know, the entire market would have to do like what Trump did, the Trump coin, and basically drain the market of everything else, all the liquidity, in order to get that high. For it to do a 40x from today's price would set Dogecoin's market cap. I mean, I don't even know what the current market cap it is, but let's do the quick math on that, right? Dogecoin is trading at 105 billion. Oh no, hold on, that's the wrong coin. 42 billion, sorry. Market cap, right? That's the FDV. 42 billion. Now, if you think that there's going to be a 40x on this, okay, you're guessing that it's going to get to whatever this 1.68 trillion or something crazy. That's my guess what that is, which would be more than Ethereum currently. And what's Bitcoin trading at now? 2.3 trillion. right? It would have to get higher than Ethereum's current market cap. So I just don't see that happening. I think that you got to be delusional to believe it's going to get to $11. But there is a nice technical setup here that I noticed, and this is why I'm long Dogecoin. I believe. So you take this fib pull, you get this 161, this 618 extension. I think this is a log scale, and you take this measured move, right? Basically cup and handle. So you take the height of the cup, and then the breakout of the handle, and look what you get. Exactly $1.99. So I think we're going to $2 on Doge at the very least. Will it go higher? I don't think it will, personally. I would love to see it go higher. Hopefully not without me, but I just don't. I don't know. I don't think there's enough money in the space to do that, unless something crazy happens. But yeah, that's just. I just don't think that's a likely outcome. So base case is $2, and I'm sticking with that for now. So I'm long on Doge for that very reason. Other coins that are looking good. I think Sheeb also is very interesting, and I think this will probably break out after Doge has done its move. I think for now it's just going to kind of chop and do nothing for a while, and then once Doge is finished and starts topping, capital will probably flow into Sheeb. Look at this beautiful triangle formation, and we've crossed the 1.618, which is like, of this fib pull. The fib time, sorry, from the very beginning, I believe. So we've got the opening price to the high to the low, then you get the 1.618. So we've just crossed the chasm, and I believe we could see a breakout up to here. So 14x from current prices, which would be this measured move, I believe, from here. Yep, perfect measured move. So likely the breakout happens somewhere in October, and it tops out either November, December. All right, that's just kind of of this triangle. Doesn't mean we're not going to get a nice boost up here in that time. So I'm long Sheeb as well for that reason. I like Wulf as well. I think Wulf has shown some strength lately. So we're just, again, in this channel, we've broken out of this downward consolidation and now moving back up. We're testing the top of that consolidation, and this is kind of what I see short term. I think we could see a run up to around $1.98 pullback, or up to $2.80 pullback, then back to test the highs up here. At that point, I'm not sure if we're going to see new highs, but I do think there's a very good chance we see at least a retest of the highs. Popcat also looking pretty good. We're still in this consolidated phase, this flagging pattern. So if you just take a measured move of that. What the hell happened there? Okay, this is not working. Let me delete all this. All right. So if we take this move, and then we clone it, and we assume a breakout happens here, that gets us back to the highs. Popcat, right? So base case is that it eventually gets up there. The path it takes likely rejects off here first. This will be the first point of interest for resistance. So likely we get up here, fall back to support, and then we make our way up. MOG, we have come up, we've flipped this into support now. This this downtrend. Looks like we've. I mean, this was the break and retest kind of thing. That's annoying. Sorry, I had to cut the stream for a sec there because my cleaner's cleaning and it's really loud. As I was saying, MOG is still in an uptrend. Still look good to me. It is just consolidating here. The next level of interest is here, and here, then here, and then new highs, which I believe we could see this tested. For me, that's the level of interest. So another at least 13x, 14x from today's price. I think it's very possible for this. And that's if you go to this chart, which gives you the full history. You can see more confluence in that region. So 8 or 9 billion market cap is kind of the expectation. And so yeah, you can see the 165 lines up with the 1-to-1. You can see essentially you take this low, this high, this low on lower time frame, so like a 3-day, for example, and then it gives you the first resistance level was the golden pocket. And then we kind of chopped up around here, and eventually the high was marked by the 786 before this huge nuke, and we created this channel. Now I'm expecting a breakout of that channel to come test the 1-to-1 and the 165, and then probably bear market after that. Okay, moving on to stocks. So we're seeing some strength in the mining sector for crypto, mining sector / AI HPC. And so this got a nice breakout today. Iren, this is a popular one. This golden pocket. We were consolidating on this golden pocket, and now we've broken above. Nice volume, and now we're coming back down, probably a retest of the support. So I expect there to be some support here on 1872. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how high this one goes. I would expect at least $45, but we could see even the log scale on a more bullish scenario. We could see this, because given the WGMI hasn't even broken out yet, still haven't even broken out of this, and IWM also hasn't even made new highs yet. So when that happens, that's when I think the real fun starts. So another 10% on IWM, and then we get hopefully something like this, 32% move, maybe higher. Yeah, so I mean, very strong open today, but then everything started to pull back. Like Riot was up percent or so, now it's only 4%. You know, we got this decent run up in the morning and now a pullback. Seems to be the case every Monday. You see something like that. If it's a bullish open, you get these big rallies and then pullbacks. So I mean, same with this. Wulf ran up, pulling back. This same SBET also extremely volatile today. Started out in the green and then just nuked afterwards. This is one of those treasury companies I recently bought into, because this stock is just insanely crap. Like, I had really, really bad entry on this, on Soluna. I think I was like up here somewhere at $8. I was literally buying this rally and then just never sold, and I held it down, and I put quite a lot in, like an idiot. This was years ago, I guess, like back in 2024. So wait, was that really 2024? No, I guess so. No, I think I was actually buying up here somewhere. Anyway, I had a chance to get out of break even, missed that, and then just gave up on it and held it all the way down. I then doubled down here on this higher low. I doubled down, I got my entry down to $1.65. Out of nowhere, the stock does this. And I was like, oh great, I'm just over break even now. But I was traveling, so I didn't get a chance to like make an informed decision and think maybe I should sell because we're at resistance. Didn't sell. The market just starts the next day, and it was like a Monday, Tuesday, it just starts going crazy, like dumping aggressively. And then next day you get Soluna announces that it's tapping the ATM and they're diluting again or raising funds or something like that. And then so it drops even more. And at this point, I'm just like fed up. Like, you know what? I don't trust this company. This was such a dirtbag move to do. Because they clearly knew and they were dumping shares and insider trading this before the announcement. This was clearly management or someone on the inside doing this manipulation. And this was probably people trying to buy because they think it's a good price. And so I just dumped. I was like, you know what? I'm taking the L. I've lost enough on this stupid stock. I don't trust management. I don't trust this company. It just feels like a huge scam to me. This is a pump and dump. They need to be investigated. So I'm officially fuck Team Soluna. Team fuck Soluna. I don't trust this company. They're a microcap shit stock, and I hope they go to zero at this point. Yeah, screw them. They're just garbage company, and they're just shady. This behavior is just super shady, in my opinion. Salty because I lost money, but screw them. Like, I hope they go to zero. Anyway, moving on. I stupidly, emotionally sold the bottom before this recovered a bit. It is what it is. And then I went into SBET, which is up here, which is now pulled back a fair bit. But I believe this has a higher probability of doing something interesting just because it's a newer play, newer narrative. And it's Ethereum. I'm bullish Ethereum, and they're accumulating tons of Ethereum. So it just made sense for me to get involved. So yeah, I think it's possible. This is possible. Even though the market cap would be enormous. But again, markets can be irrational and euphoric and do silly things. So it's very possible. That's that. Oh yeah, this is the one I got rid of. I ended up exiting this stock at break even, just above break even. I don't know. I like the chart pattern, but you know, it had come up, it tested this more than once now. It's tested it again. I might get involved again on a dip, to be honest, if I have any more spare capital. But like, this is an interesting level, $10. But it just seemed like the hype and the narrative probably isn't there. You know, given that this type of technology is easily disrupted. So, you know, maybe the chart pattern doesn't actually play out. We'll see. You know, the whole cup and handle thing that I discussed. And as you can see, like, it just keeps getting these pump and dump. It's up and down, up and down. It's kind of just doing not a whole lot. So I actually sold a break even, rotated all of that into Ethereum, and increased my position. And that was a good decision because Ethereum's been going up ever since. So I'm happy that I made that call. And yeah, I might get involved at a later date with soon, SOUN, but as it stands, I'm out of that position for now. Yeah, let's look at Palantir. Palantir still looks, I don't know, it hasn't done a whole lot since I sold, which, you know, I was selling, where was I selling? I sold this area. I sold in this area. And it's gone up since here. I mean, it went up another 20%, 25%. It's quite a bit, to be honest. But, I mean, I rotated into stuff that's gone up as well, so it's not a huge deal. But yeah, this isn't looking like bearish yet, but these ascending channels tend to be bearish. So I think 160 would probably be the high. Potentially. We'll see. You know, we could see this could be the final move, and then we see earnings compression or growth compression, and then sort of a comeback down to reality. Because it is a bubble. Like Palantir is 100% a bubble, and there's also like a bit of an activist movement against them because of their involvement in war, and their technology is being used in war and death and destruction. And so, you know, obviously people don't like that very much, including myself. Not a fan. That's actually another reason why I decided to exit this stock, because I realized my ethics didn't align very well with the morals of this company. And so that was another reason for, I was just looking for a reason to exit, and now I got my reason. And it was you know, technical, but also moral reasoning. So yeah, this could happen, right? We could see a return back to $60. Would not surprise me. Would I enter again? I don't know, to be honest. There's probably better things to invest in, and again, morally speaking, I don't know if I want to put money into this company and support this company just because of what the technology does, but yeah. All right. That's it for today. Hope that was helpful. I don't have anything else to really go over. Except for, you know, I think the market's bullish, even though today's a bit sort of choppy. You know, we started off good and now everything's pulling back. Welcome to crypto, volatile as hell. And that's probably because there's a chance that Bitcoin is going to nuke. And yeah, maybe people are preparing for that. Feel this inefficiency, you know, would not surprise me, which is futures. Go to the CME, we'll see this gap, see? Which is, yeah, 382 also lines up. This would not surprise to see this, to be honest. So be prepared for that. Be careful with leverage. I mean, this is like a bit of a descending triangle kind of going on too. So, yeah, we might. I mean, shit, what's the measured move of this if this was a descending triangle? This could be a nice wipeout, actually. Not great. Yeah, shit, it's possible. Possible that we test 111 again, this high breakout. Yeah, it's very, very possible. Be prepared for that. Be prepared for that. Just be careful with leverage here, especially on altcoins, because the alts will pull back heavy. If even on this, there's a good chance of a heavy pullback. So, I mean, just be cautious. I mean, look at these wicks, right? It's pretty dicey looking. Now, the other thing is the Bitcoin dominance. What the hell is it? Oh. Is dumping, so that's also like a reason for Bitcoin to pull back a bit. It hasn't broken trend yet, but we've tapped the 786 pretty much, and yeah, seeing the sell-off, right? Which usually means altcoin season is potentially going to begin soon, or is beginning essentially. So yeah, if we start breaking down, we'll probably see this lower high and then break down. And this doesn't mean Bitcoin doesn't go up. It just means it underperforms in regards to altcoins and whatnot until probably down here again, 38%. So once this region gets tested, all right, hold on, let me just check something. Just check. this a 786 log? All right, yeah. Could argue the log scale then. Yeah, 886. So this fib wasn't that useful in this case. So I would go with just, yeah, where does support lie? Probably, let's say in this region. This is where you should probably start getting cautious on alts in general, or the market in general. Probably time to get the F out of the market entirely in, you know, when this, well, this could be another way to look at it. So somewhere around here, whenever we get down here, this region, probably the time to, so around 43%, I'd say, probably the time to watch out below, because you're probably going to see the market collapse around that time, depending on how fast it gets down there. Hold on, we're so far ahead. Yeah, this could happen very quickly, actually. I mean, you see how quick this happened. All right. Once it nuked, it nuked. So, you know, it could be something as quick as that. Probably less exaggerated into November. And then we go sideways, and then the bull market starts again, and Bitcoin goes this way. Dominance, and altcoins just underperform in general, while Bitcoin goes on another bull run. That's it.